Much of what we consider communication is inferred rather than heard. This is especially true in Japan, where many of their daily interactions may look like bizarre rituals to an outsider. For example, when politely declining a request, a common response is "sore wa chotto." Literally, this translates into "that's a little," and the requester is supposed to pick up on the subtext themselves. But this isn't true for just Japan, it's just that it's more emphasized in their culture. Most of the interactions we have in daily life have an undercurrent of understanding, small actions that correspond to loud meanings. Whether that be a flip of the hair, crossing of the arms, or nervous fidgeting, the most silent person could have a lot to say. I think Tsuki ga Kirei understands this wholeheartedly. Whereas other shows fill their silences with dialogue or action, Tsuki ga Kirei gives their characters time to breathe. Since in real life, not all of our conversations are big, sweeping back and forths with dramatic implications, this makes the show feel incredibly down to earth and relatable. Going back to Japanese culture, the name itself is a reference to a prominent writer from the Meiji era, Sosuke Natsume. Famously, he translated the English phrase, "I love you," into "Tsuki ga kirei desu ne," or "the moon is beautiful tonight, isn't it?" The idea is that the Japanese would never be so direct, and that the subtext is more than enough to convey the meaning. Kotaro and Akane are third years in middle school, about 14 to 15 years old. This period of adolescence is marked by a large amount of uncertainty, as they are just learning about the complex dynamics of romantic relationships. We can see Kotaro navigating around how he feels about the opposite sex and trying to sift through his feelings as he interacts with them. Without a word of dialogue, we can grasp his insecurities and confusion pretty clearly, and the same goes for Akane. Her pulling out her comfort toy speaks volumes more about her current emotional level than any words could. It's really exciting to see them grow closer, both literally and figuratively. Ultimately, they settle into a comfortable state in their relationship, where simply being around each other and enjoying each other's company is enough. That isn't to say that there's no drama that springs up, they are emotional teenagers after all. But once again, Tsuki ga Kirei stays true to reality. There are no melodramatic arguments or dramatic admissions of fault. Rather, there are shifts in confidence and almost illogical passive-aggressive actions, as they try to sort through bittersweet feelings that they've never experienced before. A lot of what they go through and do are eerily similar to my own experiences, and the heavy nostalgia I feel is a testament to how Tsuki ga Kirei is able to use silence and subtext to capture that tender age. But silence is an incredibly versatile thing. While Tsuki ga Kirei uses it to provide a sense of realism and relatability, it has its place in the absurd and hilarious as well. Take for example episode 8 of Tsugumomo. The entire first half has only a couple lines of dialogue, the rest being overlaid with cheery background music, until the entire thing is bookended by an outrageous ode to pudding. Despite being used differently, the silence is something very similar. It gives the characters room to breathe. I think this episode is a wonderful example of how to do character-driven comedy. The laughs come about because the characters do exactly what we'd expect them to do given how they've acted so far, and you don't need dialogue to convey that. Its pacing is on point throughout and does a unique job of using visuals and character expression to deliver jokes rather than dialogue. It's worth noting that the manga is the same way as well, and I'm impressed with how Zero G adapted it to screen. I really enjoyed both Tsuki ga Kirei and Tsugumomo, and to be honest, I kinda created this video to just try to put into words why I like them so much. Let me know if you feel the same way in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more content. And of course, if anything I said was wrong, I'm sorry. I must have stuttered.